I decided that the best way for me to do my videos, pardon me, is to go ahead and go live with them. And if anybody joins me, fine, or whatever. Now, I will have my regularly scheduled live stream videos on Wednesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern, unless something comes up and that's changed. I just finished watching the Republicans' presentation of their rebuttal to the Democrats' impeachment debacle. Well, how refreshing. Holy cow. When you're listening to the truth, you don't have to yell at the TV. I think all of the president's team did an excellent job. What they did was they laid out the facts. And what was interesting about their laying out of the facts is they didn't have to pull them from anywhere except the testimony that the House had already obtained. Adam Schiff, etc., had obtained this testimony, but they didn't bother to show the full testimony to the Senate. They just picked out parts that they wanted to show. And it was very, very interesting to me to hear the Republicans going through what the Democrats had said and what the actual transcripts, not only of the phone call, but of the testimonies that the House had taken, what the people had said. And all they did was they showed the facts as the House itself, the Democrats basically, had laid out. They went through the facts from testimonies of Sondland and other people. They went through the facts of testimonies of actually Zelensky himself. They went through the facts of meetings that were scheduled, events that were scheduled. You know, the president said, when they said, the Democrats said that the White House meeting was, you know, one of the conditions upon the aid, et cetera, if they started the investigation and all of that. Well, that's totally not true, because even in the first phone call in April, when the president called Zelensky, he said, "I'm looking forward to having you come to the White House." There was nothing about aid or if you do what I want or anything else. It just makes the Democrats look like the liars that they are. Adam Schiff and Nadler were very disrespectful of the Senate, talking about, if you don't do this, you know, you're treacherous and you are part of the cover up of the president if you don't vote with us. And also saying that the president threatened them that if they didn't do what he wanted, that they would have to have a pike in their head or something like that. What the heck is that? So the Republican side, they only went 2 hours, which is exactly what they said they were going to do. They are going to start again Monday, 1 o'clock Eastern. And if you can watch, please do. I'd really like to see more people watch the Republicans than the Democrats. Just, you know, it's just one of those personal things. You just want to see them do better in the ratings. And I also want many, many people to see this testimony. It is astounding, very astounding to me when you go through what the Republicans did and show what the Democrats didn't show. And I watched the House stupid impeachment thing as much as I could handle it. And they picked and chose whatever. Hey, I think they did an excellent job, Sue. I was amazed at how well they laid out in logically. They laid out. I love the fact that he said, well, they said the president was withholding information, but they didn't follow due process. And I think that some of these senators are hearing some of this stuff for the first time. I think it's invaluable information. I've heard all of it. I knew all of it. So the whole time the Democrats were presenting, of course, I'm yelling at the TV. I couldn't watch it. I could not watch them. I can't watch all that lying. I love the fact that they showed. I love the fact that they showed the interview with Chuck Todd and Adam Schiff saying, yes, I have proof of Russian collusion. And we all know they didn't. And the whole thing they went through with the FISA thing, and we all know they were lying. So you've been waiting all week for today. I didn't watch it either. I couldn't. I cannot watch all that lying. It just, I can't take it. My heart just, I get so angry. I yell at the TV, you know, because I know what the truth is. And that's one of the things that makes it hard. Although I see bits and pieces of it, I make sure that I watch some of it, but I can't stomach it. I was so proud of the Republican side, the president side. One of the things I love is, and I can't remember who it was, one of them who hasn't presented yet, said that the president's directive to them was, say what you think is right. Speak the truth and say whatever you think is right, because you all know what you're doing. He said you couldn't have a better client than that. The Republicans didn't get a chance. No, exactly. The Republicans had very little chance to say anything. I mean, they were able to ask questions, but they weren't able to present anything. And when you go through the timeline of the fact that the president said to Zelensky, let's meet back in April before the infamous July 25th call, and then he was supposed to meet him in Poland, I think it was May 1st, and it was September 1st, and we had a hurricane that was supposed to come through. I'm sitting here thinking, hurricane? I don't remember. It must not have done too much, or I think I would have remembered it better. But vice president went. They got everything they wanted. They got the aid. They got everything else. I really am proud so far. I'm hoping that the Senate, and particularly Republican senators, are watching this and thinking, we don't need witnesses. I mean, all the Republicans are doing are using the Democrats' witnesses against them. So I'm kind of hoping that's my prayer. I don't want witnesses. It will just go on and on and on ad infinitum, and all they'll do is pull out those same witnesses who will say, well, I presumed. That was really smart of them to point out that guy said he presumed something 300 times in his testimony. But then when he actually asked the president said, no, I don't want anything. No quid pro quo, nothing. I don't want anything. I just want him to do the right thing. So, no, Ron, I didn't. Here's what I decided. I had been using QuickTime Player, whatever it is, to do videos and then post them. And I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm just going to go live. If anybody jumps on, fine. And then at some point, I'm just going to cut it off. Now, again, I'm going to schedule go live on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. But I can put this video up on my channel much quicker doing it this way than using QuickTime Player. Or I don't know. Is it QuickTime Player? I don't even know the name of it. But the gray guy isn't good at. Pat Cipollone. Yeah, but he's a brilliant attorney, and he's not the best presenter, but he is a brilliant attorney, and he's the one who wrote the letters mostly that came from the White House counsel. And I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of him. Jay Sekulow is much better presenter, but Jay Sekulow is used to this. It's really, public speaking is an art in and of itself. It is very, very difficult to stand up in front of all these people and say all this stuff. I agree with you. Bill said the same thing. I said, well, yeah, but he's not the only presenter, and he did present good information. Content is what counts. Absolutely. Content is what counts. And it's like the president told when they asked him, do you have any advice for your people? He said, speak the truth, tell the truth, because he knows the truth is on his side. The first thing Bill and I did was get a copy of the transcript of the phone call. I was afraid of it. I was going, oh no, what did he say? I didn't see anything wrong in it. Neither did Bill. We just kind of went, well, what? This? If you put it in context of time also, the phone call took place July 25th. Mueller's report came out July 24th. So, of course, that was what was on the president's mind. We just went through hell. This whole Mueller report, the whole country went through hell. So Ukraine was involved in that. Now, and they can say all day long that Ukraine was not involved. Ukraine was involved. Ukraine has said they were involved in trying to change the 2016 elections. Why would they say that if they weren't? I mean, their own people have admitted to that. it's all this that they really just want to focus on Russia, 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 which is a huge mistake for them because their own Mueller report said there was no collusion. So why are you focusing on that? And why are you focusing on the Bidens? That was only a small mention. And as I've said before, the president would be derelict in his duties as president not to investigate possible corruption. And that, hello, Hunter Biden getting $50,000 a month, or some people say 83,000, whatever it was that he received with no experience and no anything. Come on. Plus, how can you tell one country, clean up your act? Here, we'll give you aid, but you got to clean up your corruption. If our own vice president has acted in a corrupt manner towards that country, I'm sorry, it's like people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. So Jay had things really good out. Yeah, well, Jay Sekulow, I mean, he fights cases in front of the Supreme Court. He's used to that kind of thing. I think some of these attorneys, I think they had good information. As Ron said, it's the content. But listen, there isn't any way that the Republicans can look worse than the Democrats. I mean, starting off with Nadler telling them, if you don't vote our way, you are complicit in a cover-up and treacherous behavior. I mean, that's why Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski didn't vote with them, and probably why they won't. I hope they won't vote for witnesses. People want witnesses. I think it'd be a huge mistake. I think there's enough evidence to exonerate the president without witnesses. The witnesses, you can't count on them. You don't know who they're going to call. If it's just a free-for-all, it's not a good idea. I don't think Hunter Biden would be a great witness. All he'd do is plead the fifth, in my opinion. I mean, he's not going to speak the truth. We know that. He's in trouble as it is, very close to being held in contempt of court, which is not unserious. But I love the fact that just yesterday, the DOJ admitted wrongdoing on the FISA court situation. Ukraine's been corrupt. Exactly. Ukraine's been corrupt. And Ron is right. The truth does not take long to convey. The Republicans said, we're not going to repeat things 7 times. We're going to give you the facts. And it's so ironic that their facts are coming straight out of the House's hearings. The Ukraine's been corrupt for as long as I've ever known, and I'm 61 years old. Ukraine's always been corrupt, and the president had good reason to withhold. And he's also always said, and he has said this for years. I've read his book prior to ever running for president. He doesn't like foreign aid. He doesn't like us giving away money for nothing. I mean, to these corrupt countries. Yeah. Did anybody watch, changing the subject, but still talking about the president, did anybody watch his comments on at March for Life? Lindsey Graham said, if you tell me 4 times, you've told me twice too many. That's true. That's true. Judge Judy, once you lie, well, Adam Schiff, I just put up a real quick tweet, and of only 3 or 4 things. Devin Nunes wrote a report, and Adam Schiff said Devin Nunes' report was a lie until the IG report came out, and the IG report basically said Devin Nunes' report was right on. Adam Schiff said there was Russia collusion. There was no Russia collusion, according to the Mueller report, which came out much to his chagrin. He has made so many statements, so many misstatements. He said the FISA warrant were credible, that it was justified. The FISC court themselves said there were problems with this. The DOJ admitted there were problems with this. So if trying to look at this objectively, if I were a senator sitting there knowing all of this stuff about Adam Schiff, previous record, I would not believe anything he said in this hearing. And Nadler's the same way. Nadler just has a personal vendetta with the president. Goes way back to when Nadler was city council, whatever New York's, I can't ever remember what New York has. We have city council here, so that's what I think of. But when Donald Trump was building and Nadler was on opposite sides of him of issuing a building permit, and Nadler lost, Donald Trump won. Our president almost always wins. But I asked the question. I just don't know if any of you saw the March to Life speech. Absolutely the very first president ever to speak in person at March for Life. Do you know President Obama was the very first president ever to speak at Planned Parenthood's, whatever it is they have. And so this was what a stark contrast between the two. It was amazing. It was an amazing speech. He did a great job. The people were just so happy he was there. I'm happy he is there. I think that the Roe v. Wade is going to end up being overturned, or the Supreme Court's going to end up making some ruling. It's back in the day in 1973 when it was first settled. They didn't have as much medical information as they do now. Now, as a Christian and a believer, I have issues with abortion anyway, but they didn't know that babies felt pain. They didn't know all of the things that they know now. They shouldn't be killed anyway. But I'm just saying that I think a lot of people, when they find out all the medical information, come to a different conclusion. Barry, yeah. And the other thing is that I think when people found out how horrific abortion was, there are some statistics, and I don't know the numbers, so I'm not going to try, but when women actually see an ultrasound of their baby, most of the time they decide against abortion. And I know people who could not conceive and would love to adopt, and there's so many issues to that. I can't. It is very sad, and I think it's an issue that people are becoming awakened to again. In other words, we fought it and we fought it and we fought it for years, and now it's coming back. And what I found about the March for Life that was so heartwarming was that I don't know numbers, but a good number of the people who were there were young. They were high school students, college students. Most of the people who attended, by the way, were women. And the argument that the left always makes on this is about women's health care. But look at all the women that were there. And that's such a stupid argument on its face. There's so many reasons why that's a bad argument. I can't even go into them all. But it's not about women's health care, because actually having an abortion is not good for your health. It's not about women's health care because you're killing a woman, potentially. Another woman. It doesn't. It's also proven that women who've had abortions have more health issues. They also have more psychological issues because the guilt tends to eat them away. And sometimes they are left sterile and they can't have any more children. So they killed the one child that they could possibly have had. And I don't even want to think about that. But, that's a whole nother issue. In any case, I really just jumped on here. A group in Portland, they have a bus with ultrasound. No, I didn't, but that's wonderful. 75%. Thank you for that. I knew it was a high number. I knew it was more than 50, but I didn't know the number. Thank you. 75% of women who see the ultrasound change their minds. I had a miscarriage between my two kids. I fell down a flight of stairs and lost a baby. And that was devastating to me. It was, and I still think about that. But to me, I was 9 weeks. It's still my baby. I have a baby in heaven waiting for me. And I didn't mean to fall down the stairs, but naturally you would feel guilty because, obviously I didn't mean to. I tripped. I was carrying my daughter and slipped on the stairs and went all the way down while I'm holding her and, lost the baby. It happened. I bear no guilt, but you do tend to, now I bear no guilt. At the time I felt terrible, but, I lost a child. I don't know how women who had their own child killed as I asked somebody, I said, "What are you going to tell future children about their sibling that you killed?" I'm sorry, I don't want to get into all of that, but it is terrifying. But in any case, I am proud of our president. I am proud of our team. If you can watch, even if you can't watch, turn on your TV for 1 o'clock on Monday, because I really would like to see the ratings for the Republicans be higher than the ratings for the Democrats. That's just kind of a silly thing, maybe, but God, the Democrats were just so boring. The senators, what I got tickled with one of the senators, Rick Scott from Florida, who is now a senator, said that some lady had caused a commotion and the Capitol Police had to take her out and arrest her. And he said, "I've been thinking about doing the same thing so the policemen have to take me out." Tucker Carlson said that he watched the proceedings and he said, "I really wanted to jump out of a window, although there were no windows to jump out of in there." So you've had a miscarriage. Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. They are absolutely in heaven. Yep, yep. For various reasons I won't go into because it's kind of complicated, but I had determined that my baby was a daughter, and I named her Amanda. And you know, I'm just she's up there. She is probably up there, Sue, with your baby, praying for us, praying for America, and waiting for us. Um, you know, uh, hey, Lainey, whose name is Elaine. See, I remembered. I have no memory, but I did remember that. That's great. Well, listen, I guess y'all got some notification that I was on, so I'm really happy you jumped on. But I don't want to take up, too much time of y'all's. I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts down about the impeachment thing. I'm still praying. We need to keep praying. We need to pray for our president. And I say this all the time, but if you pray for Barron. I have such a burden on my heart for him because he's so young, and to hear the things that they say about his mom and his dad and even his siblings, it's got to be tough on him living under a bubble and all the stuff that he goes through. Imagine his age. I can't remember how old he is now, but he's a teenager. And so, that's got to be tough. Plus, he's hugely tall for his age. And that's another mark. That's, he's got a lot of things. But in any case, and pray for the president, pray for our country. And I've just been praying for the truth to come out. And I have been so happy to see, living through the Democrat hell that we went through with all the lies and the lies and the lies that they told and the evil things they said, not only about the president, but about us. And when Adam Schiff said, we can't allow elections to determine this, well, he's saying that we're all idiots and we don't have the right to make up a decision, that we're not smart enough and we're not capable of that. Don't lose track of what these people are saying about you and what they're saying about me. Even if they don't name you, they are saying it. They think we are idiots. They think we don't know what we're doing. They think we don't deserve the vote. And that's exactly what he said, that we cannot leave this election because he knows that Donald Trump will be reelected. And so it's disparaging against us. It's disparaging against the truth is what it is. And it's also, in my mind and heart, it's Antichrist, because this is who has put Donald Trump as president of the United States. It is God who did it. And so every time they come against him, come against you, they're actually coming against God. They just don't realize it. And I often find myself praying for mercy on them because, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go against God. And that's exactly what they're doing. Payback is on the way. I hope so, Ron. Exactly. Both mom and I think Melania is very smart. She's very capable, and she's very protective of her son. And I don't blame her. I mean, aren't we all? Aren't we all? I hope that we are going to see this whole thing turn. And I'm praying for some indictments to come down. I think one of the reasons why, because I know almost fact certain that there are indictments out there kind of waiting. I think one reason why they're holding on to them is because it is going to look like the president is getting retribution on some of his enemies or whatever. And I think they don't want to muddy the waters with that. I don't know. That's just a speculation on my part. Not that that is what he is doing, because he has turned the whole thing over to Bill Barr, and who's turned it over to John Durham. I think we are going to see indictments. I don't know when. People keep saying when, but I honestly believe that they are going to wait until after this impeachment thing, so that they won't be saying, "See what he's doing? He's just going after his rivals," which is so stupid. Can you imagine Joe Biden being a serious rival of President Trump? And that's just laughable on his face. I don't even understand why Joe Biden has as many votes as he does, except for the fact that all the others are stark raving crazy. I think Joe Biden is just suffering from dementia. The rest of them are just nuts. They're just insane. This is absolutely crazy. And if you wondered about Mama Bear's right, Mama. Yeah, Nancy Pence. And I know, and they've been talking about impeaching Barr, and they've been talking about impeaching Mike Pence, and they've been talking about doing all this. You kind of wonder, is there a voice of reason in the Democrat Party? Do any of them realize? First of all, Donald Trump's approval has gone up by 3 points since this trial began. So just in the past 3 days, his approval rating went up from 46% to 49%. And that was one of these Yahoo, as I said, polls are weighted. So probably his approval is really 59% for all we know. But that's telling. People are tired of impeachment. Democrats are tired of impeachment. There was a focus group that somebody did just recently, just like the day before yesterday, where the focus group they had of Democrats, registered Democrats, who said, "No, we're tired of the impeachment thing. We don't care about it," because they said this is a non-issue. It's like, how are you impeaching a president over this? It's just stupid. They have got nothing done. Where's infrastructure? Where's healthcare? Where's all the things that we care about? Forget the wall. They're never going to vote for that, but they've got nothing done except these endless investigations and impeachment. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Atkinson, the ICIG, who interviewed the whistleblower, who's not really a whistleblower because, they changed the form to make it hearsay was okay. His testimony was held in secret and is classified or whatever. And the Democrats have not allowed his testimony to come out. Well, we all know why, but I'm wondering if the Senate is going to ask questions about that, or if any of that is going to come out. Some of the Republicans were in on that questioning testimony and said that if they let it out, it would exonerate the president completely. I mean, this whole thing. So that's going to be something interesting to watch. It's also going to be interesting to watch, what happens out there to maybe distract from this debacle. I don't know. Turkey, by the way, just suffered I think it was a 6.0 hurricane. I mean, hurricane, earthquake, sorry, which was 22 people are dead in that. And obviously that's Donald Trump's fault, but regardless. So there are things going on that the news media may very well cover instead of, because obviously CNN, MSNBC, and all those people, they can't allow the truth out there. They haven't allowed the truth. And it's interesting to me, I'm on Twitter a lot, because our president's on Twitter a lot. But it's interesting to me to see the people on Twitter who don't know any of this, because MSNBC, CNN, they didn't cover any of this. They didn't cover any of the stuff about the transcript of the phone call or whatever. They only said whatever Schiff said it was. So when these people find this out, it's just like when the Mueller report came out, they got really mad with CNN and MSNBC and said, "You told us this was going to go this way, it went that way, and that's when they lost a lot of viewers. Their viewership went down. It's going to be interesting to see what this does to the viewership of those people, because they haven't been telling their people the truth. They've been lying to them all this time. They've been just doing the DNC talking points. And if people are watching these hearings for themselves, which they should be, the stuff that they put up on Twitter shows they have no idea. They don't know. They don't know the other side. They don't know any of this. They've never, some of them, just like Bob Mueller said, what is Fusion GPS? How do you not know what that is? Because CNN, MSNBC, they don't want you to know. They don't mention it. Oh yeah. I don't want to think. They want Biden. That's probably because he's complicit in so much stuff. You know, it was an interesting thing. John McCain's widow, Cindy McCain, was on some show fairly recently and made the statement that we all knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing, but none of us had the ability, or we were afraid to do anything about it. You can't make that statement and let it sit. That is going to have to come out. And she's opened a can of worms by saying that. We knew about it. We were afraid to do anything about it. Were you all being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein? Were you being blackmailed by the Clintons? Somebody is going to have to get more information out of her, since she's been the only one willing to admit that they knew what he was doing, and also use the word, we were afraid. Afraid of Jeffrey, afraid of the Clintons, afraid of whatever. And who knows? I don't know. Somebody else might know if John McCain was ever on that plane or ever in that island or any, or whatever, but that's going to have to come out. And it's yay for her for saying it, because Hillary's been saying she didn't know anything about this. She didn't know anything about what he was doing. She also, and Cindy said, we all knew. She didn't say, I knew, John knew, the Clintons didn't know. She just said, we all knew. And we know that John McCain and Bill Clinton were, tight. I mean, come on. The U.S. left-wing media, I think the media has been corrupt for way longer than we realize. When I look back, we never thought it was. We always trusted it. And now I'm questioning everything anybody said in the media. But the media has reasons. They're all tied into the same place. They're all getting money from the same sources. Follow the money. CNN, all of them, they're all tied into the same money sources, and they're all, and also half of CNN's staff is related to somebody who was in the Obama administration. Half the people they have, if you look at all the people they have, Brennan, they have McCabe, they have all these other people who are now CNN contributors or MSNBC contributors. So there's all this marriage of, these people, they're brothers and sisters and in-laws. I mean, they're all connected, but they're also all connected financially. So anyway, it is going to be very, very, very interesting going forward. Monday, 1:00, you better believe I'll be watching. Bill will be watching. And I will jump on live if I want to just say something real quick. Join me if you see me. But from now on, as I've said probably too many times, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm definitely going to go live. It's just, this is the easiest way for me to do videos, because it takes too long for them to upload otherwise. Oh, good. You're off work. I used to believe them all too, Lainey. I mean, now you look back and go, who was telling the truth? Truth will come out. It always does. The truth will come out, and the light will shine in the darkness, and the darkness will have to go. So I always want to end with, God bless Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. God bless America, and God bless all of you. Thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll do it again. That's not all I have to say about that. Thanks. Goodbye.